What's up guys, it's Drac, and this is a box. This box is pretty exciting. This comes to us directly from my buddy Valor, or Valor Lionheart, or Valor Blasters, whatever he happens to be going by at the time. And this is a design from a designer in the space who goes by Adrian. What the breakdown there is, I'm not entirely sure. All I can tell you is that I think Valor had a working one of these before the designer himself did. And inside this package, we should expect one of Valor's limited edition, serialized, there we are, the Gecko. So inside this compact little carrying case, we've got the Gecko by Valtech, which is I guess what Valor's calling his store now, serial number 3, and this should be a distinct colorway of the Gecko, which is yet another one of these turnaround based plunger above barrel kind of, ooh, that's actually quite spicy. Quite nice. Check that out, guys. That is shiny and clean. So I actually really like these custom foam cases. Lucy did one of these for me for a very exciting blaster reveal of the SLS Talon Claw. But this is the Gecko. The Gecko is loosely inspired by Cyberpunk 2077. There's a gun in the game that looks exactly like this apparently. Trigger pull feels pretty clean. The prime, again, I've done no research on these, right? I guess you pull it back. There we go. So it pulls back like that. Then there's some sort of lock. I guess you are supposed to push it forward. Man, should have included some instructions. So interestingly enough, it does not take regular Talon magazines. It only takes the angled Talon magazines, which I'm glad that they exist, but their proprietary nature makes them kind of a pain. I'm looking to get some in pretty soon. Luckily, this custom one from Valor comes with a printed angled, ooh. Things that make you go, ooh. That was just a really clean chambering. Now, I don't know where the mag release is on this guy. I would think that it would be something here that you would pull down. It's definitely got a release somewhere. Wish there were instructions. All right, can we at least prime it? All right, so we're primed forward now, and the Gecko is ready to go. So at least it's chambered, and that's not bad. That's quite a bit of pop. All right, so this part is spring-loaded. I don't know why. I don't know if it did anything. There we go. Prime is a little stiff. I really wish there was a way I could make sure. All right, so that's the trigger. And the trigger is gonna interplay with the sear, which is built into here, and in the back here, and then there's no mag release. So I don't know where I lost you there, but I figured out the reason I can't find a magazine release on this blaster is that there isn't a magazine release. When you go in, the D10 engages, holds it pretty sturdy, and then to get it out, you have to yoink it. There's just, if I'm missing it, I'm sorry, I can't find a mag release anywhere on this thing, and ergonomically, there's nowhere on here that makes sense. The overall prime is pretty funky, and on this model, it's definitely a little fickle. You have to grab from the front, really slam it back, make sure that it catches, and then come all the way forward. I'm not 100% sure why this thing explicitly has this slide up here, where this moves back and forth, but I don't know enough about the intricacies of the inside of the blaster. And it might be just for aesthetics. I have no idea. That said, there's a bottom Picatinny rail there, and then everything else works the way that we've come to expect, in that the catch is right here and connects to the trigger via a long bar on the side that gets you into that catch mechanism there. Everything in this case seems to be printed. I don't see any mechanical reinforcements on the plunger rod, at least not that I can perceive right now. But the overall comfort of the blaster is pretty good. It feels like a sci-fi pistol, with admittedly a monstrous grip in it. I do just want to be clear, when I say that this grip is large, and I do mean large, it fits a full-size Talon mag inside it after all, with, 50 caliber darts. Like, I regularly shoot a 50 AE Deagle, and even that is a more comfortable grip. Like, this is a large grip, I have pretty sizable hands, and my thumb barely touches my middle finger there. Now, as far as the overall kind of real steel aesthetics and perspective that lends, it feels like you have a veritable hand cannon. Like, it's pretty seriously cool. It definitely evokes that feeling that if you were walking around Night City, this is the kind of gat that you want to be whipping out. So again, the prime is sort of funky. There's a slip up here that I'm not entirely sure if it's a priming lock or what the purpose of it is, but this is a little bit loose on mine. As we prime it back again, this goes back like this for reasons unbeknownst to me. And you really have to get it home. Then this comes forward like so, up. So that's the price of progress, right? In priming it that way, we seem to have either double fed or It's so nervous when it double feeds like that. You don't want to shoot yourself in the face, but you can't tell because the thing in the back looks a lot like the front of an AF Pro Dart. Is it loaded? It was loaded. Whew, whew. Glad we didn't test it, right? So priming again, like a gentle prime just isn't going to get the job done. You really have to grab, rack, slide, just like that. The overall ergonomics, like I said, pretty funky. Printed magazines are not my favorite because of reasons like this. When the dart goes in, the dart also comes out. You really need multiple darts in there to create the kind of friction. Now, it appears that they're using the standard foam blast sort of magazine spring here, and the overall action of the magazine is quite smooth, so like no serious complaints there. As far as depriming the blasters go, it's just not going to be possible. It's not going to be possible because you're using a slip like that. I wonder, does that mean that, and this will be a fun dry fire exercise, does that mean that it has slam fire? I guess it has slam fire. Now, why you'd be slam firing your GAT, I have no idea, but I've seen weirder things on ranges down in Georgia. The Gecko is a cool looking blaster. Like, it gives you a serious sci-fi futuristic vibe. It's got all of the good that these, over-under pistols have, except this one is grip in mag, and it's injection molded grip in mag, should you choose to go that direction. And again, the package was quite nice. It was also, you pay a little bit of a premium if you're gonna buy one from Valor through this fashion. This was $200 plus shipping, and it came with, the pistol itself, all of the work that he did tuning and printing it. Now, I think it's only fair, since this is being sold as a printed product from Valor himself on his printers, being done sort of a premium product style, that we talk about how good the print quality is on the printed parts. At least these glitter pieces, which look to me to be filamentum, of some form or fashion, they just look fantastic. Like, those look like they could be injection molded. The layer lines, the resolution is quite good. The orange could definitely use some polish, but it looks good, and I'm just thrilled to see this much of it, like on a quote-unquote steel silhouette like this, and these are getting gradually more and more dangerous. The fact that he went with gold and black is already a little dicey, but the orange up top really helps the perception of this blaster. The prime being really stiff is my only big complaint heading outside. Like, I think that it's really cool to have one that accepts injection molded magazines. I think that it's great that Valor's delivering a product that comes like this packaged and this nice. I like that it functions right out of the box. It seems pretty solid. So let's take it outside. Let's take it downstairs. Let's put it over the chronograph and see if the juice is worth the squeeze. Literally.
Perfect.
All right, guys, let's turn on the chronograph. Come over here, grab our Gecko in the box. I actually had it primed as I brought it down here, so go ahead and pop that in, prime it forward. I figured out that this is like kind of a bad slide lock, but it's designed to, if it pops up like that, it'll try. It's not a good slide lock, but that's what it's trying to do. Anyway, ooh, that was funky. I pulled it back and it, ooh, 130. What a perfect end war sidearm. Although I think that the kind of fickle nature of prime... Jinx, you are right where you can't be, girly girl. Come here. Come here. Say hi to YouTube. All right, Jinx has been preoccupied off screen. Good. 96. Lord knows how many darts that accidentally chambered. 2, but we still got a 101. All right, prime like that. Of note, this magazine holds 11 darts, so it's actually a pretty serious capacity. It's the largest, I think, capacity like this. Of course, a regular Talon would hold 15, but for a printed magazine to hold 11 darts like this, just gives you an idea of how large this handle is. 113. Did that come back and hit me? That's kind of funny. And then 116. So definitely appears to be sort of all over the place. That is a pretty big spread, but we're certainly above 100 and under 130 for almost all of these shots. Let's go ahead and put a few down range and see kind of what we can expect in terms of ranged performance out of this guy. I mean, again, like I think that this is a marvel of like functional prop making. As far as its practical blaster aspects go, it's not hitting quite as hard as some of the other over-under blasters in this category. That said, I think that just by looking at it, despite its massive grip for large ammo capacity, it seems to have a much smaller plunger volumes. It's also over-under in a different sort of way. The plunger is under and the barrel is over, so if that's more your jam, an actual like line of sight there, and it does have a built-in sight picture. Not an amazing one, but I guess you could always put a red dot up top if you want. That said, like this is definitely the most like sci-fi futuristic out of all of them. It's a good looking sidearm, and I don't want to complain too much about the Prime because again, it's serial number 3. We got to give him some time to work out all the kinks, right? Come on. So what's happening here is that the slide, by virtue of this lock not engaging and holding it forward, the slide is being pulled back by, yeah, watch, see what happens there? I pull the trigger, and instead of disengaging this catch, throwing this plunger back, air up and through and out through the barrel, what's happening is well, that time it worked. It's all very confusing, stream. Let's prime back like this and see if we can't get it to, there we go. I mean, like legitimately, for low FPS, those darts are floating 85 feet. Did it again. Did it again. It pulled the whole thing back. Ah! Did it again. I'm gonna hold it like this. There we go. With an angle, that shot went forever. It might have caught the wind, but like that shot was 120 feet. There's so much to like about this aesthetically that I'm willing to forgive some of the inconsistencies here. It looks like it's using heat set inserts, which are a very quality add-on for some of its functional bits. I mean, there's a lot going on here. And again, getting this this exact silhouette off of this bad boy cannot have been easy, but fighting it every step of the way to get it's a little frustrating. But the shots are so good. When it actually fires, the shots are so good. That's frustrating. It's frustrating because it's clear that it could be really, really good. It also looks like by virtue of how this is set up with the Vanguard pusher style thing in there that I can pop this magazine in at any point. That's honestly a nice little convenience, especially with no mag release. There we go. I mean, when it's working, when it's trucking, it's really, really cool. I want to applaud the designer and Valor for what appears to be a marvelously designed and beautifully printed blaster. I wish that there were a few things that were a little more consistent. I wish that this bit worked better. I get it. I finally get it now. This is designed to pop up all the time and prevent the trigger issue from happening. The reason that this slides back when you prime it is it's supposed to slide back to push this down so that you can actually rack the slide. Everything on this blaster makes sense to me now, and I still think that it could be a little bit more consistent, which, in the spirit of fair play, I haven't designed an over-under pistol like this, so who's to say? This is definitely a unique implementation of that system, and I'm not here to judge it for anything but its merits. It's also apparently dry fire safe because nothing broke just then. As far as the spinability goes, it's not bad. Holsterability on this thing would be pretty solid. If you can get over the fact that it is a hand cannon, it would fit pretty nicely down there. But I like it. I think that it looks great. It's a privilege to have one of the low serial numbers and get to introduce it to my audience this early on in its development cycle. And it's just another option. Like I said, I think that we need to do a full breakdown and comparison of all of these pretty soon, but we're waiting on one more. There's one more from a designer that you've seen on the channel very, very recently that I think is gonna bring a lot of power to the table. And then we'll have one that maximizes ammo capacity and aesthetics, one that's maximizing power, one that's splitting the difference and looking really good doing it, and then one that's actually injection molded and durable as heck. So that'll be an interesting video later on down the line. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you turn on my notifications, smash the bell, do all of the different YouTube things because they're slaughtering small creators right now on the site, and it would mean an awful lot to me. If you enjoy content like this and having the most educated purchasing decisions in your hobby blaster career, I would really appreciate the opportunity to stay in your news feed. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Much love. Blast on. Gecko out.